back into another edition of the Chris Hatcher Show, along with Samford head coach Chris Hatcher. I'm Blake Gardner, filling in for Kevin Blackwell once again this week. Samford coming off a defeat this past Saturday at the hands of Tennessee Tech by a final score of 27-7. And Coach, obviously not the outcome you wanted, but the game got off to a good start. You had the big catch and run from DJ Rias on the first drive. Mekhi Gilbert forces a fumble on Tennessee Tech's first touch of the football in that game. Do you think, I know it's hard to say, but do you feel like that game maybe unfolds a little bit differently had you gotten some points there early?
I believe so. We've struggled to score the ball here these past couple weeks, which calling the games. I mean, you don't get to call many Samford touchdowns. But if we could score there early, we get a little confidence, and I think that's what we're lacking right now offensively is confidence. But unfortunately, we couldn't. We missed a field goal, which our kicking game has been very inconsistent as well this season. But I think you're correct. That series of events just kind of made the first half just kind of a blob. And then all of a sudden we had a heavy downpour of rain, and we were just, at that point, we're just trying to get in halftime 0-0 and kind of get everybody back together on the same page.
I was about to say both teams, neither one could really establish a rhythm in that first half. It was rainy, it was windy. How do you think the conditions maybe affected the way both teams kind of played there?
I'd like to say they adversely affected us, but I thought our guys handled that part of it well. I think there was a couple quick RPOs that we could have spit out that Quincy just didn't feel comfortable with the wet ball. But other than that, I just think both defenses were elite Saturday. And it was just the way the game went. It was a field position battle, and you're just trying to get yourself into halftime where you can make a few adjustments and hopefully find a way to win a one-possession game in the second half.
And obviously, it was a one-possession game up until about midway through the third quarter. You had the interception that they cashed in. The biggest play of the game, obviously, that blocked punt. How disappointing was that to see, given that Will was punting the ball pretty well there in that first half?
Well, you're right. You sit there. We got really poor field position at the end of the second half, and I think we'd only had one first down, the first half, one first down. So it was kind of like, let's just milk the clock and not give anything up cheap, so that they have no momentum going in at the half. So the third quarter, we come out, we got bad field position again, but we strung together a couple first downs, and then we started throwing the ball around a little bit. We missed a key block. Quincy gets hit, we throw a pick. First play, we miss a tackle, they go score. Next series, we get stripped, a sack from behind, they score 2 plays later. And then the momentum shifted greatly there, and then we give up the block punt for a touchdown. But the thing about our squad after that, we had a nice drive offensively. DJ Rice scores a touchdown, and then we felt like, hey man, we got a little life. We're back in the game. We can score quick when we're clicking, and then we give up a long touchdown run, and then that pretty much summed up the afternoon for the old Samford Bulldogs. And I know I just gave a recap on the entire game, but you go right ahead.
Sure, no, you're good. No, I know you mentioned in your post game, obviously you thought the game was won and lost there on the line of scrimmage. What did you see on film from Tennessee Tech's front that gave you guys some trouble?
I knew going in that they were going to be one of the better front sevens that we played during the course of the year. Of course, Adam Braithwaite, our defensive coordinator, coached those guys, so we had a little bit more insight than maybe going into another game. But we just got bullied up front a lot of the game right there. And then, I did think that we ran the ball good at times. Then we would have a costly penalty. So it was a little bit of them, a little bit of us not doing the things that we need to do to be successful. And at the end of the game, it's just really frustrating not to be able to help a really good defensive performance that we've had the past few weeks.
One of the bright spots for your offense, DJ Rice, had 4 catches, over 70 yards in the touchdown. I think that's his 10th career touchdown now here at Samford. What's he meant to this Samford program in his time here?
Tremendous young man. He was a walk-on player at Alabama, came over, started at the X receiver in our 22 championship year. He's played the Z receiver, started this year at the Y receiver, and then due to Rafe Vincent and Ian Cousins going down, we moved him to the H receiver. So he's played every spot other than running back and quarterback. But tell you what he's so good at is just yards after the catch. He very rarely goes down on the first tackle, and he did. He had a really good game, and it was good to see.
And defensively up front, I thought a couple guys had some really good games. You had 5 sacks. Of course, Mekhi Gilbert had the forced fumble. Conroy Cunningham, Jamal Thompson each had a couple of sacks. What did you like from their performance?
Well, those guys have been playing at a high level all year, and a couple of years ago we were more of a 3-man front where they ate blocks up to help the linebackers make plays. With our new system, we've really utilized the talents of those guys, and they're good at moving. I thought we had some good schemes to free those guys up. And of course, that's where you win. You win in the trenches, and we've been playing really good on our defensive line pretty much all season long.
Well, speaking of defenses, this week you go to Chattanooga, who sports a top 10 defense in FCS football. I mean, when you look at their film, when you turn it on, what do they do well?
Everything, they're very physical up front. Their 2D tackles may be the 2 best in the league. Their ends are really good as well. Again, it's very reminiscent of going into the Mercer game. They're very simple in what they do on defense. We know what to expect, but they execute at a real high level, and they have tremendous athletes. And you are correct. We've had the misfortune of playing some really good defenses this year, and these guys are no different.
Well, the last time you went to Chattanooga a couple of years ago, your team won on the way to that Southern Conference title. I think you put up 35 points that Saturday. It's probably going to be more of a low-scoring game this Saturday, but what's it going to take to give your team a chance to win on the road this week?
Well, that's a negative comment right there. Even though our past couple games, we did score a touchdown in the second half last week, so we're getting better right there. Man, we're going to let it fly, okay? And I told the guys this week, man, let's go have some fun, man. And we try to have fun every week, but the outcomes have kind of got our dollars down a little bit. But, we got everything to gain. So I feel like we have a really good plan. Probably will be a little bit lower scoring game, but I think the biggest thing is our defense is going to have to really stand up to a really powerful rushing game that we're going to see this week. They sport some really good downhill running backs. Their line's really big, and when you commit that many people, you got to cover arguably two of the better receivers in the league out there one-on-one. So we're going to have our hands full, but tell you what, we're going to show up and give it the old college try, and we're going to throw everything at them and see what happens.
Well, it should be a good game. Samford and Chattanooga coming up this Saturday afternoon on ESPN+. That's a 12:30 Central Time kickoff from Chattanooga, Tennessee, the final road trip of the year for the Bulldogs before they come home for Senior Day against Western Carolina on November 23rd. Coach, appreciate the time. Best of luck this week.
Well, I appreciate you being here and doing this, and hopefully next week we'll have some more positive stuff to talk about.
Sounds like a plan. Thanks for watching this week's edition of the Chris Hatcher Show.